Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome, and welcome, Tom.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to be here. It's been a while.
I know it's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Well, you were on Galactic Gaia with Gail, or not Galen, with Dr. Gail and I. A couple months ago, I think.
Yeah, I
But
believe so.
yeah, but just you and I together. I was so excited. I almost called JJ at the last minute and said, "Hey, come on over."
If she should bop on if she's here.
Right? Or Richie. There's Richie. Hey,
Richie,
Richie, my
oh,
friend.
we're all getting excited about our big trip coming up.
Oh my God. I was talking to Kevin about it. I was talking to this morning and I was talking to JJ about it this afternoon. And we're just so excited. Hi, Liz. How are you? And everybody coming in. My name is Teri, and this is Tom with Time to Transcend. And we are streaming to both our channels. So please be sure and like and subscribe at Tom's channel or mine. And if you're on Instagram, hi, good to see you. Hi, peace, please. How are you? So today we're going to kind of talk about the energy that we're feeling about the retreat. We are going to Spirit of the West, and it is coming up tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. It's coming up Saturday, or I'm flying up Saturday, and then it's going to be Spirit of the West Coast, and then we're going to be there together. So it's just going to be phenomenal. I can't.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Neptune's daughter, JB. That's Jan. She's my moderator.
Oh, hi,
Yeah,
Jan.
yeah. And if you want to check out her channel, it's at Neptune's daughter, JB. So that's Jan.
Jan, I think I've seen your channel. Um, kind of looking around. There she is, Neptune's daughter, JB. Yeah.
Yeah, she was in Sedona with us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the second Sedona retreat. So yeah, she was. That's where we met, and she came up. And Kathy's on here too. Kathy and I and Bobby was here. We had our gallery reading at our my camp, and we had a whole weekend of readings and all kinds of stuff. And Jan was here too. And Jan's coming up again to my camp because we're going to do another for there's a women's weekend, and we're going to do a whole thing then. So Jan and I are going to do readings and maybe do a session, and we'll see.
Oh
So
my God, I'm so excited. I love it how everybody is connected. And welcome, everybody coming in. Annie Bear, hello,
Annie
beautiful.
Bear,
Jules, learning to listen. Hello,
yeah.
my friend. Hello, beautiful Kathy. I'm so excited to see
Hey.
you. Yeah, man, we're going to have some fun up there. So, and we were just talking about all the energy building about everything. It's just
Yeah.
so exciting.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of readings and Reiki and things, but in the usually I do a lot more meditation and I haven't been doing as much, but I've been kind of being told by my guides that this is a time to to rest. And so because I need to get ready for like my batteries need to get recharged, so to speak, for what's going to be coming through this retreat with all these where we're going to be and all the people that are going to be there. It's going to just be talking, how mediums, and I always say we're lighthouses, the spirit world can see us, but we're going to
Hmm.
be, all of us will be together. And it's just like going to be this huge beaming of light around us. I see that. So,
Like a searchlight, right?
yes.
Right. It's going to be pretty cool. Oh, and Annie's talking about how sleepy she is today. I am too. Like I went to yoga this morning and then I did my sauna and I usually I have a massage after that. I do that twice a month.
Oh,
But
wow.
but I'm really called to a lot of self-care right now. Like I feel like it's really important for everybody out there.
Hmm.
Oh, Annie napped and yeah. And it's going to be so beautiful, peace please. So so what do you do for self-care, Tom?
Well, as you can tell, this scenery behind me it's not fake. That's really the woods. So I spent a lot of time at this camp. Um, Normally I'm in Philadelphia, but I've been here now. I haven't been in Philly in 2 weeks. In fact, I won't be there now for almost a month by the time I get back from the trip. So I spend a lot of time in nature. I do my sitting in the power usually every morning meditation, and that really helps a lot. And that's kind of what I try to do every day is that but being here, just sitting out here is so peaceful. I always connect, I always try to walk barefoot once in a while and in the grass, and it just helps with so much. And I try to, as we did in our retreat, I've been doing something. I try to get up when the sun rises in the morning. And a lot of when I do my channel, my shorts, a lot of them are in the morning when I do it. So I take a lot of videos in the morning when I post that kind of stuff. So I try to make that a routine.
It's so important, isn't it? Your circadian rhythm, when you align that with the planet, with Earth, Gaia, then it does change your energy. So waking with the sun and going to sleep with the sun, I do that on a regular basis. So, yeah.
And I stopped wearing sunglasses so much.
Mm-hmm.
I do the thing in the morning where I actually, when the sun's low, is to actually look into the sun. And it really, I know it sounds weird. Some people say, don't look into the sun, but there's a lot of thought on that. And it seems to really kind of regulate your, like you said, your circadian rhythm.
Yeah. We need it. I need it. I feel like, they're seeing more and more that we've, talked about skin cancer for so long, and we have to be really careful about that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But really getting the rays in are very, very important. So
yeah, I'm getting a lot of sun. I'm pretty dark.
Wow.
I get a lot of sun here. So there's a nice pool and a nice hot tub here that I go in. In fact, I just was in the hot tub before the show. I snuck in because it was raining all day and it was just enough time to get in and get out.
I love it. I love it. I have a hot tub in my backyard and I'm back there all the time. Yeah. It's so much fun. So what do you feel like, and anybody here, I know a lot of you guys are coming up to the this retreat, and I know it sold out pretty fast, so we'll give you some warning when the next one comes up. But what do you feel like the anticipation is, kind of like, I can't wait to be with everybody, and I feel like there is going to be a transcendence of the group. What are you feeling on that? Like, what does that feel like when you look at it?
As you were talking, I was thinking, usually when you get together, you want to tell all these stories and everything, which I'm sure we'll do. But I think just like for a lot of us, just being together, we don't even have to say a lot. I think we can just being together, picking up on things. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I felt a deeper connection to Great Spirit and angels when I was praying on the solstice.
Yeah, the solstice was so powerful. So powerful.
So I feel, I do, when you said transcendence, I do feel that we're going to have an experience. I mean, we always have experiences. There's always been something that's gone on at the retreats. A lot of it's been individual. Like for me, I had a lot of individual experiences. But I feel like we're coming together there's something else that we're coming together for. Some sort of like learning, or here's what I feel like. I feel like we're going to be learning things that we're going to be taking back with us to help to spread to other people. That's what I think. I think we're going to be helping people learn what's going to be happening down the road in the next couple years. And we're going to be helping people with that understanding in our own way, into our own crowd that we're with.
I think you're right on the money, or on the crystal, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think so too. I feel like it's something that's going to flow with us. So yeah, I was just thinking about, I got a new camera or a new phone, and I was just thinking, oh gosh, it'd be so fun to kind of film some things in the background. But when you're in the energy, you don't even think about picking it up.
Yeah, and so my picture that I use on my channel and in my social media is there's a picture of me, part of my face with the sun behind me,
I
and
have that one.
that was taken the day we were at the Harmony Ranch with the
Yeah.
horses,
Hmm.
the first Sedona trip. That
I
was that
remember it
day.
well. I have a picture of me there, and I have a picture of you there, and I've used it before when you've been on the channel. And yeah, those are some of my favorite photos. Yeah, Nadia, we all wish you were going to. Hi, Leah. So everybody's crying. Well, there's next year. There's next year. But we'll talk about it when we get back. And it's going to be like the experience is going to be amazing. But like you said, we are bringing it back with us, and we will be sharing this.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, it's going to be pretty amazing. Um, so let's talk about the energy right now, because I feel like we talked a little bit before we came on about there are some channels. I'm not pointing fingers or anything, but some people are very frightened, and their channels are pretty frightening, like the information that they put forward. And so it's really easy to kind of go into that cubbyhole of looking at that instead of looking at all the abundance that's about us right now. And especially when I'm saying that, I'm like seeing all the abundance behind you, Tom, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm so great. I just am so grateful to be able to have this spot, to be here.
Yeah,
But yeah, I feel it goes along with manifesting, and it's about the glass half full and glass half empty. But I think uh, even in when there are situations that are tragic, there's always something good that comes out of it. But I do think that you know if I can dare say the word clickbait, I
yeah,
think there's some of that going on. Like if I hear the 3 days of darkness one more time, I'm like, come on, like, and maybe who knows, maybe that might happen, but I just don't see in the end of anything that's going to happen. I see it all being good, like because I always feel, and I not just feel it, I really so important to me to say is the light always is wins.
yeah,
When there's dark, we have to know dark to know light and light to know dark. But in the end, the light will win. And so we're going through this phase right now. And I felt this first part of June was kind of like we had the clutch in and we're kind of in neutral. I do feel like it's going to get in gear again here. And there might be a few more things we have to get through. I think like a lot of people, the end of July is going to be, it's going to be some things happening, but I don't see it being anything we can't get through. I think it's just, but I do see this whole thing kind of, it's like the going down the tidy bowl man, it's kind of going down and it's starting to spin faster. So hopefully we're going to be out of this thing we're in the last couple of years. Actually, last 10 years, if I can say that.
oh, easy. Yeah, yeah, I can go a little farther back with my and it's interesting, isn't it? Like how we look at and it is part of the Hopi prophecy, but the 3 days of darkness. But um, sometimes that's such a metaphor, isn't it? A spiritual metaphor, an emotional metaphor. It can also be a physical metaphor of like going through our shadows and really going deep into it, because I feel like these last 10 years, like you were talking about, the tidy bowl era, that it's kind of like we have been through that. We've been through those 3 days. Sometimes it was 3 years, sometimes it was longer.
Mm-hmm.
And we really, it's interesting how light workers can go so deep into the darkness to really grow their light sometimes. I mean, there are definitely those like the Dalai Lama and different ones that are born knowing, and they don't have to do that. But hello. This lifetime, I definitely had the opportunity.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. For me, I mean, a lot of the stuff that's going on with me is, I made some big changes in my life, and then that kind of just opened everything up. But I feel like, again, going back to the light and darkness. So I had my darkness period, but the light is won out. So the light always wins. But again, you have to it it's like, having something and not having something. You don't know what it really means to have something until you don't have it. So, I know I've been through some things and I know how that was, but I'm grateful for where I'm at right now. And we're all going to get through it. I mean, there is no death. I mean, that's just a phase. So even if you want to think about that in those terms, we're still going to be fine, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We definitely came here for a reason, didn't we? And together.
And that's so true. When I think about how, like, well, I met you now, it's been 2 years, I think,
Hmm.
years when we met in Sedona.
Yeah.
And then we ended up hanging out and having dinner together. And then you were sitting next to me during the Reiki training, the second retreat, and so
Yeah.
we just sort of, like, all of us in the group, and then so many other people too that have come together. um it's just it's just wonderful to be. And I've said this before, like years ago, to do all this, to be part of this kind of community, you have to go to a bookstore, you might run into somebody. And with this YouTube community is just really special, that we're all connected in different ways. Somebody's connected to somebody, and somebody's connected to another person. So, and all
Yeah.
you have to do is turn it on, and there we are, or there it is.
You know, I really feel like we've done this on other planets. And this is something that our group does, right? We come together to shine the light. And it's no problem if somebody's not wanting to see that light, if they want to stay in the darkness or in the shadows, or maybe they're newer souls, right? So they're just getting to where they want to be. And we're all just right where we're supposed to be. I never see any judgment on the other side.
No.
Yeah.
And I've said this, and I guess I'll come out and say it here, is that I felt like, there's a lot of people that have been in the news, and popular people or things that have been talking about what's going to be happen galactically the next couple years. But I feel they don't realize that there's a bunch of people, I call it, in the stealth group, that are behind the scenes, like a lot of us that are here, and we have information to share when it's the time to share. And there's millions of us, and we're all here for the reason to help pass on information in some way. So I do feel we all came here at this time of change, because anybody knows anything, if you're the kind of person that goes into a job that's a situation, like if you're getting a new job and the place is a mess, not everybody wants to take that on. Most people want to just slide into something that's already operating. But for me, I have always loved to go into a school or any place that I've worked where it's kind of a mess, and then clean it up. So I just feel like we're kind of in this, we're like the service, what's that group called, comes in when you have a disaster, you
Oh,
know,
yeah. Yeah.
the cleanup crowd,
Right.
and in our own way. And it's nothing, and when I say that, I don't mean it's like something dramatic. I just mean it's little things, bringing awareness to people about stuff, making them question things, like even talking about when you're doing mediumship, and some people that really don't believe in a lot of things, and they go, well, how did you know that? Well, just making them realize that there is something else beyond this world, whether not anything specific, but just there's something else, and make them kind of open their mind up a little bit, which I think is what we're doing in all
Hmm.
ways.
Yeah. It's quite interesting that a lot of people say that there was a quota that we had to make of light workers, and kind of shift the energy. and it's kind of been a teeter-totter forever, up and down and all around. And now we finally made that quota, but there's still some stuff that needs to be dispersed, some old constructs of society. I feel like, the way that we look at things.
The warrior widow said, "I need a cleanup crowd. Can you send them to my house?" That's funny.
She's so funny.
The thing is, like, I'm also thinking about the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha people coming in now. Like, they're coming in with a lot of knowledge with them, whereas, like, for at least for me, I had to like relearn things, I guess you put it that way. Whereas I can have conversations with the younger folks, and we're just starting off from like boom, like they just are already right there. So once this, like when you talk about the number of people coming in, like it's just growing exponentially, because there's most of the younger people coming in are already aware or already in tune. I got put it that way. They're in tune with this change and they're ready for it. So yeah, the newbies are crazy awake. Yep, I totally agree.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's part of all the neurodivergence in the upcoming people, or I don't know what to call them, upcoming people, the new people. Mm-hmm. and also the gender, because they really, I just did a channeling on the divine masculine on Father's Day, and they were talking a lot about that. Spirit was about like how we look at things, female and male and them, but really it's just, they don't need necessarily two sexes usually to have a child on the other side. A lot of the star people, as do a lot of species on this planet, don't need that as well. So, and if you look back in civilization and our ancient ways, our ancient stories, really so many, like Mary and Yeshua and Ganesh and Parthavari, it's just so many of them never needed two species. So, or not two species, two sexes anyway.
Yeah. And if you look at like in the native indigenous communities in the Americas, so we have the two spirit, and in the there's a famous story in the Zuni tribe of Wewa, who was actually born male but was presented as female and did a lot of ceremonies, went to meet Grover Cleveland, went to Europe, was treated to, it's a huge book on that. It's called The Zuni Man Woman. And then there's the Muxes in Oaxaca, Mexico, which is the third gender is recognized there.
Yeah.
So, it's, and even if you look at people that are, if you just look at male, female, there's a spectrum of some people are female, but they have more male energy. And then there's males who have more female energy. And it's just it's a variance of that. It's not, there's no such like exact thing. People want to think it's black and white, and it just isn't. And maybe that bothers some people, but it's just the way it is. So,
so what's your feeling on the human species? Because I feel like for years we thought we were the top of the game on the planet, but I really feel like, and I'm not talking about other dimensions, I'm just even talking about this dimension. I feel like the birds are so far ahead of us, the bees, so many different species have such a beautiful energy around them.
Yeah, and like being out here, I have a lot of chipmunks that come around. I have hummingbirds. There's deer. There's bear. And they have wonderful lives. I mean, they come and I actually, last night there was a squirrel crawling on my RV, like not just jumping on it, walking across it. And I was like, well, he's having a ball up there. And where I'm sitting right now in front of me is where I do Reiki. And I was looking out the window to this spot here. There was a squirrel sitting on a rock the entire hour of Reiki. And I was about ready to get done. And I looked at him and he looked back at me. And I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to finish yet. So I did a little bit more. And as soon as I finished, he left. So he was there the whole time. So I mean, I just feel like they're aware of so much than we give them credit for, you know? And I think sometimes in some ways they're laughing at us at how serious we take things and how we get caught up in so much 3D stuff when we really don't have to. And not to mention the elementals and all the other beings that are around us that leave us presents and greet us in all kinds of different ways. So there's so much more out there than, and going back to this earth, you know, we think we're the only species here as far as like sentient. Well, there's the trees, there's the animals, plus there's all the beings that are, you know, in a slightly different dimension, but here attached to the earth.
Right.
There's so much more that's going to be uncovered or officially be able to be revealed, so to speak. And that's where I think where our role is going to be, because a lot of us have been aware of those things in some way. So when things are revealed, they're going to need people like us to be able to talk to, you know, they're going to go like, what is that over there? I'm going to have to explain it to them, because they're not going to actually be aware of a lot of this stuff. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel.
Do you feel like it might be an instant awakening for some, or do you think that it's going to be like the flash of light, or do you feel like it's going to be gentle? I mean, and I just got to say that my crystal shaman, Reverend Saul, a lot of people here know him or knew him when he was here, and he always said, "You don't want to go too fast." We were given a jalopy, but or rather, we were given a Maserati, but we know how to drive a jalopy. So it does, like, if you get that instant awakening or Kundalini awakening, it can burn a few brain cells or feel like it.
Well, yeah, and I went through my own thing where I wasn't sure what was happening, but I
Right?
do, yeah, and I do feel that I do feel there's going to be some events, but there's going to be a group of people that are just going to be like the last to like wake up, and maybe they
Yeah.
won't. Maybe they're going to have to go to another place or something to be like, you know, like a lot of times, I don't know if you get this, but if there's some people that go to spirit and let's say they're really a strong believer in a certain system, they come back and they say, "Oh, it wasn't like I was taught," and like they had to go to school over there for a while to kind of learn what it is. You know what I mean? So I feel there's going to be people here that we're going to be able to help, and there's going to be some people that are going to really struggle with that. And there is a group of people I felt like you know, when they talk about when the stock market crashed in 29, and some people really did some things that were, you know, scary. I do think that there's going to be some people that are just not going to be able to handle it. I mean, look what happened in 1938 when Orson Welles went on the radio.
Oh yeah.
You know, that there were people that were just like freaking out by that, you know. So when some of this starts happening, there's going to be a group. But I do think majority of people are at least aware or welcoming something that's not, they can't see. So when this opens up, people will be more awake than they were in the past. And I think that's why it's happening, because like you said, we've surpassed the number of people that we've got to the number that can handle it, so to speak, and also be there to help push it forward.
Yeah. I love that. So how would you tell people to go out and build their conscious community, their connections?
I would say it just starts with one other person, right? So if you have a group of friends and you know there's that one person that maybe likes to talk about some of the quote unquote woo woo or things that you may like to talk about, and start talking about it. Because my experience has been, and it's funny, I feel like I've come out again. You know, I came out as gay 30 years ago and I've come out again and it's interesting now, the number of people that I start talking, they'll say, well, you know, what are you doing now since you're not, you know, working full time? I said, well, doing Reiki, and oh, I'm a medium and a psychic and I do readings, like, oh yeah. And you start talking about it. It's so interesting. And then we'll start talking about galactic stuff and about other things. So when you think there's nobody around you, it's like it's like going back to coming out as a gay man. It was like, I didn't think anybody else I thought I was the only one, back then. And you're
Yeah.
like, no, there's a lot of us out there. So it's a matter of just starting. So start with one person, and sure enough, someone else might be listening. And then you start having, and like a lot of things that we do on Zoom, we have groups that meet on Zoom on a regular basis. And so you can connect that way. So that's how I see it. And that's my answer to that question.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. I do feel like I feel a calling, and I know a lot of people can't do this, and that's okay. But if you can, to do something in community physically, and it doesn't have to all be in the physical, like it doesn't all have to be in your local area, but there is community out there, and we're building it, aren't we? And some of it will be online.
Yeah, what I do at my camp here, I started doing on Sundays at 11. I just hold an open session called Transcend and Connect. And so I've had one person show up, I've had 6 people show up, and I usually try to do a guided meditation, and then we just open it up for discussion about anything. And sometimes someone will say, well, could you do a reading? And I'll just, and we'll just open it up. And we've talked about, everything from past lives to galactics to tarot to Sasquatch to ETs, whatever it is. And it's interesting how many people are coming to this group, and it's led to other things. And so, I was joking, so there's that Tom over there. What kind of weird stuff is he doing? But I don't care. It doesn't bother me, because if I can come out as a gay man 30 years ago and everything that I've been through, this is like I've already been through the fire, so to speak. This is fun, and I know who I can connect with, and those that I can't connect with, or those that mock it, they're actually the ones that probably are the ones that actually have the most questions, and eventually they'll come around and ask them. So,
Isn't it interesting? I have found that with my friend groups too, that the ones that I hadn't thought would ever come around have really come around quite a bit. And then others that, were kind of sequestered, and you wouldn't have thought that they were into it, but they really are. Yeah. So, and there's so many different places we can go to, aren't there? Like you're doing that within your group where you are physically. I have the yoga studio that I go to and teach at, and that helps quite a bit to have that physical connection as well. But I do feel like it's going to be easier and easier for people to get that physical connection, don't you?
yeah, and like I was going back to Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they just do this. Like I've been in conversations, well, in a group with them, and once this conversation starts going, it's like it's just another conversation. It's not anything
Yeah.
too odd, and so I do feel like it's building. Yeah, I just feel like it's a matter of reaching out to those that um, and like I've even had people that I've known recently that are attached to a certain tradition, and they have been coming to me and asking questions and sort of like stretching what their belief systems are. And everyone has their own journey, and everyone has to have their own way of approaching things outside of this world, outside of this 3D world, however you want to put it. So everyone's expanding it, and even in some of the major traditions, if you want to get into that, they're actually have been officially opening up to other existences officially, like right out there in the open. So if they can do it, then anybody can, right?
Yeah, scientists are even talking about consciousness now. I mean, it's something that's going on, right? They're talking about the consciousness of the plants. They're talking about the consciousness of the planet in the quantum field. And it's so interesting because I do feel like there's a great connection with math and science and spirituality.
Yes. You know, I had this book in front of me. Um, and I don't know if it's okay to show it, but many years ago I bought this book because I was fascinated by the lost gospels,
Oh,
and specifically the Gospel of Thomas, maybe because of my name being Thomas. But, you know, if you read them and you look at them, they're very Gnostic, and
yeah,
they're very way ahead of their times. And now they actually make sense if you read them. And I'm not trying to talk religion here. I'm just talking
right.
about another perspective on things. Things like reincarnation, the greater belief systems, they were way ahead. Do they have all the answers? I don't think nobody has all the answers, but they definitely had another perspective that wanted to be covered up by what's been going on the last 2,000 years, which is our patriarchy and our control systems, and even longer than 2,000 years, but specifically. And so that's all coming to the end. No matter how much people want to fight against it, we are into the divine feminine is here to balance all this out. So
Yeah. It's so much energy coming in. Hey, Ness, how are you? Liz says, Phil, I am a completely different person than a couple of years ago, in part thanks to Terry and Tribe. Oh, did not realize I was so close to departing the planet. Now starting a whole great new career. Oh, Liz, I'm so happy for you.
that's
Um,
wonderful.
yeah. And well, Warrior Widow, I love
What did she
that.
say?
She says, oh, sorry, I'm trying to read it. Oh my God. So my daughter and I were talking about sexuality the other day, and she said, I think you're bi, mom. And I said, and I'm like, funny news to me. Yeah, lots of kiddos are asexual. Yeah. Oh, Greg Braden brought that to your attention, Hypnicity. Hi, Hypnicity. Hello, beautifulness. And Mirror Dragon, hello. So nice to see all of you here. So, well, do we want to talk about elementals or galactics or other dimensions
Sure.
now?
Sure. Let's go for it.
Yay! Let's go deeper, go high. Um,
I've been told it's time. I was told that I couldn't talk about some of it, but now I've been told it's time to talk about it. So
yeah, I agree. I agree. So, who do you feel around you the most? And I already know the answer to this question. If so, you don't have to talk about them if you don't care to.
um well, I'll mention as far as well, yeah, I will say are the furry people,
Yeah.
the presence there. But also I do feel like Palladian and Arcturian presence. Um and mantis beings. I've had experiences with those. Um,
What did that look like? Or do you want to talk about it?
um, it was in the time of the awakening thing that happened to me. I had an experience that I wasn't sure what was going on. That's for my second book. I am working on my first book, which I hope to have done by the winter time. But yeah, I had some experiences there. I wasn't sure about them, and I had met with some people and talked through it. So I had those experiences. I feel like with the furry people that came through I was doing a mediumship session myself, practicing early on, and mostly I was getting family members. And all of a sudden in this one session, it's like this big furry guy is walking by me in the session, and all of a sudden he's communicating with me. And so, sharing about the ley lines and the earth and the protection of the planet and how long they've been here, multi-dimensional, just the knowledge they have, and realizing that, all these, just knowing that they're around. And the other thing we got recently, actually, my friend and I were communicating the session, we found, there's been a lot of sightings in Ohio, the last, like, really a lot of them. And what was communicated to us is that there's so much happening right now, and they're working so hard on the Earth grid and the changes on the planet, magnetic changes to the planet. They don't even have time to worry about cloaking. They just have so much to do. So it's like, and they also know that their time to be revealed is coming. So, they're galactic. They're not some sort of like lost species.
Right.
There's a big controversy on that. So if anybody wants to start looking for them, good luck. That's not going to happen. They're too smart. They only tune in to people they can trust, and it's a trust thing with them. So, I haven't had a lot of communications lately with them. But now that I've been talking about it, probably I will. But they have come to me every time I've gone on a retreat. They've come. I'm not seeing them, but I know they're there. So again, seeing and maybe not seeing with your eyes, but seeing with your clairvoyance and your those senses. So
I'm so glad you said that, because I feel like many times people say, "Well, I don't hear anything or I don't feel anything," but it's it won't necessarily be a language, right? It'll be a feeling, or it'll be a knowing, remembering.
I just had an acorn hit the top of my site just now.
I heard it. Yeah, they're already coming in.
I had a reading while we were in a group reading, and they came in the group reading. We were in a session actually with another one of our people for a class, and they were hearing tapping inside their glass. So I mean, they're, and just to be clear here, like, no one's going to go and start looking for them, because they're too smart, and they're laughing at those people that think they're going to go get them. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's like a Model T trying to be on the Indianapolis 500. Like, it's not going to. There's no competition there. They're too aware. So, but they do communicate in different ways. And so they've been around me that way. And I feel like they've been the first connection to galactics. That's been my first entrance into it, was through them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from there, it'll go into the other beings I haven't really had direct contact with, or at least communication. I did have a couple significant events that I can share at some point that happened to me. One was a healing session that came in, and I had a massive headache out of nowhere. It was horrible. And I was just asking my guides and angels for help. And I had this light beam come down and went into my head, and my headache healed, and the warmness went away, and the light beam went away, and I was healed. So I had that happen. So
they have a very interesting way of healing. And it's quite interesting. Reverend Saul was very, very connected. And I used to see him in my crib. They would come in, and then they'd teach me how to tune out really with the dial, and change the channel when I needed to, if things got too heavy.
And what you just said is so important. You have to be in the present. You have to be in the present. You cannot be thinking about the past or the future. And you have to be aware of what's around you. But if you're not you're not tuned in, you're not going to be connecting with them or anything other than, the latest TV show, right? So,
yeah, and that's so easy to do, isn't it? Because there's a reason that there's all this information coming at us all the time. Because we're upping our game and kind of jumping out of that. But I feel like that wave of energy that keeps coming is there for a reason, to kind of make us leap a little farther, grow a little faster, perhaps.
I'm just sitting here with my cards. I was just playing with them, and I just pulled this Hope card, which is the same as the this is the Star card in tarot. This is the other kind of deck I have. So I do feel like the light we have the light around us, and um, it's guiding us, and um, yeah. What I have more experiences that I will share at some point. I'm just being very careful about them because
Yeah.
I want to protect. It's a when you're in contact with them, it's a respect. And I had to ask permission at one time. Was it okay to talk? And finally, they said yes. But they do want to be known as, um, galactic, and they want to be known as star children, star beings,
Yeah.
specific star beings. They're not what people think. You know, they're not some lost species or something. They're definitely they're galactic, and so that's all I'll say to that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, interesting. Yeah. Well, I'll have to put you back on. Well, I'll have you back on before then, but definitely we'll have to talk about it when you get the book out. Um, so it is quite interesting. I feel like everybody's awakening to new senses. Like we have our senses, our five senses that science used to tell us that we had. Now there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of senses that we have. But there's the subtle senses of your clairs, and then we thought those were what, five or seven. But really, there's so many more coming in, and they're coming in. It feels like in a different way, like we're noticing the light, and we can see the light physically now. And we might hear things with our physical ears now, and so many people awakening and remembering and knowing so much right now, things that it doesn't make any sense, but all of a sudden you start picking up a book and you know the end of it. You've already done this. You've already been a Reiki master. You've already been like you're a savant, kind of, right? Because you're a light worker. So a lot of us, when we find what we're here to do, it feels like we have that capacity. Have you felt that with something in your life that you started? I know that you're so great at Reiki, and we studied Reiki together.
Um, yeah, it's interesting. Like I was thinking, I over the years and different things that happened to me in my other jobs and just in dreams I had and things, and there was an awareness. There was always a sense of something else. I even had somebody come to me recently and say, "You remember when you told me that this was going to happen to my career?" And I was like, "I did." She goes, "Yeah, we were just talking about it, and you suddenly just said something." And I think I was just so busy doing that job that I wasn't aware of it. But I feel I actually had some visions as a kid of me floating, like, when especially when they would be in church and they would talk about the ascension, the assumption into heaven and the ascension and all that. I saw myself like not in the same as who I'm talking about, but the sense of being able to be out of my body. And so doing, I just had friends do a Reiki session on me. And in the session, I felt myself out of my body. And when it was over, they said, "You were out of your body." And I said, "Yeah, I know." Like, I didn't say that to them, but they sensed it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like a lot of this, when you want to control people, you don't want to let people that can heal themselves. You don't want people to know that. So now it's sort of being like people are realizing we don't need a middleman for all this stuff. Like we have the power within us. We have so much abilities within us that, the junk DNA is in junk DNA. It's being opened up. It's being, and so these abilities that are there are just growing. And I do feel like with my, like what's happening now is I'm kind of, I don't like to say that I'm definitely this, but I'm getting like a medical intuitive approach to everything. I did have somebody in a retreat in Chicago when I went to the first one with Mel. This
Mhm.
woman looked at me across the room and she says, "You're going to be a medical intuitive." And I was like, at that point, nothing, I really wasn't aware of a lot. But now what's happening is it really is, I always tell people I'm not a medical professional, but I've even had a medical doctor in a session, and I told him what his medical problems were without me knowing. And he says, "That's exactly what my problem is." So that's coming in more and more.
Interesting. So when I go into that in healings. I can feel it in my heart space, or I can feel it in different parts of my body, what's going on in their body, and sometimes see it. How do you perceive that? Are you are you
Um,
knowing it? Or are you?
Sometimes I feel it more. I feel it more if I'm doing mediumship. Like if somebody said they had a heart attack, I'll feel a pain in my heart.
Yeah,
But what's happening now is, and it's happened for a while. So, like for example, I had somebody come in and I was over their head, and I was starting to see their sinuses, and I got the message they don't have permanent sinus problem. They're having problems with pollen, and I could see the little, the little hairs or whatever they are in your sinuses, the tiny little sensors.
yeah.
And when it was over, I said, you don't have a sinus problem, but I explained to him. He goes, yeah, I'm having a horrible time with pollen this year. But I could see that. Or I saw somebody's. Yeah, recently I just had somebody in, and I said, you don't have any permanent hip damage, you don't have any arthritis, but you're having a problem with the tendon that's not getting enough circulation. And he pulled his shorts and he said, look, that's the tendon. That's exactly what I have. So so I'm seeing like inside the what's that movie where they went inside the body in a spaceship? Remember that movie? They shrunk down and
Yes, I remember that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's kind
Not
of like
Journey to the Center, but something like that,
something
right?
like that. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
And then I'll get messages from my guys like this is like this person's having high blood pressure, or this person's having a distended abdomen or a bowel or something, or is having a potential for an ulcer. I've sensed I've actually heard and sensed diverticulitis before.
Yeah. It jumps out there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
does. And so,
Yeah.
and I tell people, look, I'm not a doctor, but go check it out.
Hmm.
Or even telling somebody you need to eat more fiber or stay away
Yeah.
from processed food. You
Yeah.
know, so that's been growing with me. And then I feel like if I trust with I'm doing a little bit of trance healing, and that's kind of growing into my Reiki. And I feel like I'm just trusting that the energy coming in is doing what it needs to do. Like I don't really need to direct it; it goes where it's needed. Um,
Yeah.
if you want to look at other traditions, there's the laying of hands. I try to tell people, okay, what about laying of hands, or what about when they talk about light language? What about the speaking in tongues? It's the
Speaking
same.
in tongues. Yeah.
It's the same
Same
energy.
thing. It's been around forever.
My hands have just activated as we're talking. And when I had somebody in one of my sessions, I was like, well, here, put your hand in here. And he goes, oh my gosh, it feels like a magnet, you know, when your
Yeah, I
hand,
can feel the energy, Tom.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. It really is. Um, so I'm just grateful for all this. And I just hope that I can, I want to, I said, when all this was happening, I said, how do I become a psychic medium to help people? Or how do I become a healer to help people? Because I've always liked to help people in my other job. And now I feel like I'm helping people in another way. But I also feel like just being an example of people going, I can't figure out Tom, what's going on with him? Well, it makes people think about there's something else. They can't put their finger on it. They can't explain it. And that makes people who are really thought that they know everything in whatever belief system. It could be a science, could be a religion. They're like, well, that doesn't fit my box. Well, there is no box, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. We're giving up the control, aren't we? That's a hard one, isn't it? Letting go.
yeah, it is. And it's very hard, and I think that's the people that we're going to have to really help hold their hand, so they're not in that. Again, I always say, I feel this strongly. If you're in any sort of belief system that's making you fear, in a fear state, you're not in a love state. And so then you should question it. If somebody's making you fear something, fear another, fear anything, question that. Like, why are they doing that? Are they doing it because they want to control you? That's how I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you on that. I think fear is a commodity. It's an old one, isn't it? It's a 3D, part of the 3D. And most of us are already in 4 and 5D. They talk about the shift, and we've already shifted, and we're not in that game anymore. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, not that we can't go there every once in a while. Oh,
No.
5:55. I love it. Please, please. Um, so is there anything else that you want to talk about before we get going? We've got about 5 minutes left. Do you want to pull a few cards for the group,
Sure.
or we can do that too? But is there anything that you really wanted to let people know about what you're seeing right now or what you're feeling?
I would say try to find part of your day to reflect or to pause. Turn off all this input. Turn off all these things you're getting. Everyone wants to get input. Find a quiet space for maybe 5 minutes, hopefully maybe 15 minutes, maybe more, and just let your mind settle and start listening to your inner voice, because that's where you're going to get your real information from. So I feel that more and more, you know, with all this stuff going on and people telling you on different sources, this is the truth, this is the truth, this is the truth, more and more people are like, no, none of this is right. There's something else. So you can't, what I'm seeing is people are waking up and realizing that they have to look inward and have to listen to their intuition. So that's what I'll say, is that people are using their intuition more, and they should use it even more.
I love that. It's all about our perception, isn't it? And everybody has a different perception. We're all so different. How we perceive our truth to be, whatever that is, or give up the control of it.
Right. And use that intuition, and don't let people sell you down the road here. Don't let anybody sell you the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah,
Right.
I love
They
that.
want to.
I love that. You want to pull a couple of cards?
I just pulled one. I just fell
Okay.
out of my deck. Look what it says. I just pulled truth.
Oh, perfect. Oh, and then I got visions of life beyond death. And look at this beautiful woman with the owl on her head.
Oh, wow.
Knowing, definitely in knowing. All right, everybody. And if anybody wants to reach you, how can they reach you, Tom?
So you can check out my YouTube channel at Tom Time to Transcend. Also Instagram, also TikTok minus the D. And then my website's timetotranscend.com. Also my social medias there. You can book readings, mediumship, psychic. I'm doing Akashic Records now. You can also do Reiki sessions, and I do in-person sessions in Philadelphia and in the Poconos as well. So, and we're doing group sessions. Kathy and I are, if you're interested in getting 5 to 10 people together on a Zoom call, we'll do a group mediumship session with my friend Kathy. So 2 mediums. So you can book that at tomtimetotranscend@gmail.com. So,
I love that you and Kathy are doing that, Tom.
yeah,
That's amazing. I
we
love
did
seeing
our
you guys together.
yeah, we did our live session, and we do them on we're going to do more of these group sessions. So also I'm going to start, I told my friends in the area that if you want to have a party, I'll come to your house and do a live readings and stuff at the house. So, and I love the mediumship. So thanks for letting me share that.
Oh, of course. Well, thank you so much for being here. And thank you everybody else for coming here. We've got the dream show tonight. So if y'all are going to be on the tube for the night or for a little bit longer, we're going over there with Allie and Callie Healer and Diana Oil Painter. What's your next thing you've got coming up?
Well, after the retreat, I've got some other shows scheduled, and I got another big weekend here at camp, and my friend Jan's going to be here at this one. So we've got some events scheduled here, and my big thing is trying to get this book finished.
Yay. I can't wait. I can't wait to read it. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you all for being here. And Tom, always an honor, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.